The shriek cut through that lazy Saturday like a rusty nail dragged down a chalkboard. Yeah, the sound, the kind that makes dogs bark 3 blocks over. That was my first real introduction to Linda Patterson, local legend, real estate queen, and self-proclaimed sheriff of all things beach etiquette, strutting across Turtle Cove's sand in a hot pink cover-up that had more drama than half the shows on Netflix. I swear those sunglasses she wore could blind a pilot from 30,000 feet, and she was waving a half-melted iced coffee in one hand, a crusty beach towel in the other, like she was about to present Exhibit A to the Supreme Court. And the thing is, all that rage, it was aimed at me. Me, Tom Garrison, the guy just trying to squeeze in a few hours of peace after a week sweating it out at the auto shop. 6 days of busted transmissions and customers who swear their check engine light is just a suggestion, not a threat. And all I wanted was a cold drink and a little sun on this skin that's got more shades of mechanic tan than you'll ever see on a color wheel. So picture this. I roll up at 2 out of scope out the beach, packed as always, and spot a blue and white chair, lonely as a lost puppy, just sitting there with a towel draped over it, half buried in sand like it survived a hurricane and gave up on life. I give it the classic 5-minute courtesy wait, scanning for any sign that its owner might be, I don't know, swimming or getting snacks. Nothing, just that towel more crust than cloth barely clinging to the armrest. So I set it aside, settle in with my cooler, and let out the first real breath I've taken all week, only to have Hurricane Linda land right in front of me, blocking out the sun and about half the coastline. She smelled like coconut sunscreen and ambition, and her voice hit a frequency that made seagulls pause mid-squawk. That's my chair. You're sitting in my chair, she announced to me, and half the state of Florida, like we were in a courtroom, and I was the surprise witness. Then came the classic move the business card in my face. Linda Patterson, 47. Patterson Premier Properties. Complete with a little gold house logo and a handwritten phone number, like she thought I might want to buy a condo after all this. The way Linda told it, she'd staked her claim on that exact patch of sand for the last 15 years. And the secret apparently was the system. Her system, which said that putting a towel on a chair at sunrise meant you owned it all day, no matter where you wandered off to. Brunch shopping, getting her nails done, all of which she'd apparently accomplished while her reserved chair just sat there waiting for her triumphant return. Now let me back up a sec. I'm a reasonable guy, right? I explained calm, as you please, that the chair had been empty for hours, 8 by Linda's own timeline. Families were circling like sharks for open seats, and there hers sat vacant except for a crusty towel. I told her gently that maybe, just maybe, leaving a towel on public property didn't mean she could hold the whole beach hostage. You know what I mean? Well, that was gasoline on the fire. Linda whipped out her phone like a gunslinger, hit record, and pointed it right at my face. This man is stealing my property, she narrates for her Facebook fans, zooming in on the chair, the towel my sunburned knee, like she was Dateline NBC, and I was the prime suspect. She declared that I'd be banned from Turtle Cove forever and started pacing in little angry circles, narrating every move for her imaginary audience. What she didn't notice was the crowd gathering, families rolling their eyes, college kids quietly recording her now, and one retired couple applauding when I politely held my ground. The husband hollered out that he'd watched the chair go untouched since breakfast, and I caught a few snickers from nearby teenagers. But Linda, she was locked in charging full speed toward defending justice or whatever flavor of the week was trending on Nextdoor. Then she dialed 911, no joke, put it on speaker so the whole beach could hear. She described me as an aggressive male who had stolen her property, her voice climbing a few octaves as she tried to make the case that a blue-striped chair was basically a family heirloom. When the dispatcher asked deadpan if she owned the chair, Linda paused, then admitted, no, it belonged to the beach, but she'd reserved it with her towel. The dispatcher's silence was epic. Finally, they explained, like talking to a toddler about crayons and walls, that a towel does not equal legal rights to a public chair. Linda naturally demanded to speak to the supervisor. Meanwhile, I'm getting comfy, pulling out a sandwich, sipping my soda, enjoying the growing crowd and the commentary. Someone even started play-by-play, announcing Linda's next move like we were at a wrestling match. Linda's face was now matching her cover-up, and as she cycled through the city directory beach patrol mayor's office, her lawyer, she got nowhere fast. Each one gave her the same answer: sorry, towel law isn't a thing. That's when Linda snapped. She grabbed the arm of the chair, shrieking about possession being 9/10 of the law, and tried to yank me out, except she lost her footing, slipped in the sand, and did a full-on cartoon pratfall. Her iced coffee went flying, landing right in her designer bag with a sad little splat, and you could almost hear her phone short out on impact. The crowd went wild, clapping, cheering, some filming straight up vertical just for the drama, but Linda, stubborn as a barnacle, popped up covered in sand and declared she was making a citizen's arrest. She lunged for my wrist, shouting about grand theft beach chair, and that's when the cavalry arrived. Beach patrol led by Officer Daniel Reeves, who looked like he'd rather be getting a root canal. Linda pounced on him, breathless with outrage, launching into her story about the sacred towel, her reserved chair, the villainous chair thief, me. Officer Reeves listened, nodded, then asked if she'd actually used the chair at any point today. She said no, but she'd reserved it. He asked if she'd even been on the beach in the last 8 hours. Again, no, but the towel. Did she realize he explained that public property means anyone can use it if left unattended, and that leaving personal items could actually mean they're considered abandoned? Linda's jaw dropped like a fish gasping on dry land. Then came the knockout punch. Officer Reeves told her not only was I not in trouble, but she could be cited for harassment and disturbing the peace if she kept this up. The look on Linda's face, let me tell you, it was art. She cycled through every stage of grief in 3 seconds: denial, anger, bargaining, embarrassment. And just when you thought she'd quit, Linda doubled down, accused the officer of being in on it, suggested maybe I'd bribed him, and demanded his badge number for her lawyer. That was it. Reeves pulled out his pad and wrote her a ticket for $200 disorderly conduct, plus a formal warning that the next time would mean criminal charges. Linda snatched that ticket with shaking hands. Her manicure ruined her dignity, slipping through her fingers like sand. Around us, the crowd was buzzing. Someone had already posted Beach Karen gets owned online, and the views were climbing. Linda stared at her phone, maybe realizing she'd just become a meme for the entire Tri-County area. She gathered her sand-coated designer bag, her dead phone, her destroyed towel, and whatever was left of her pride, and stormed off, throwing out threats about lawsuits, vengeance, and how she'd have all our names. No one took her seriously. Officer Reeves gave me a look, half exhausted, half amused, and told me to enjoy the chair for as long as I wanted, and I did too. Took in the sun, the laughter, the ocean air, and thought about how sometimes the universe delivers justice, right there in the sand, iced coffee and all. So let me ask you, what would you have done if Linda came storming at you, demanding your seat with nothing but a sun-bleached towel and a business card? Would you have given in or stood your ground? Drop your own beach chair, horror stories, or wildest encounters down below? I want to hear them, because let's be real. We've all met a Linda somewhere, and sometimes the only way to beat entitlement is to let it trip over itself in public. If you got a take on justice, right and wrong, or just want to see more chaos like this, make sure you comment. I'll be reading every one, maybe from my favorite beach chair, if Linda lets me keep it.